WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American over here in Germany, reviewing often rare and exotic whiskeys. This probably qualifies for this again. Auchentoshan Solera. Have you ever seen this bottle or box before? I haven't. Now, this was actually bottled in the year 2012. So it's been in the bottle now for 12 years. Whiskey base number 5 digits, 31069. And what they basically did is they took their standard Auchentoshan triple distilled in oak casks and gave it a Pedro Ximenez cask finish. How long? We don't know. First fill? We don't know. We do know this is travel retail. All right, so the original price back then was around 139 euros. So now I found this bottle in my collection cleaning up. I have about 1,000 bottles in my collection. I lose track of things. I'm so sorry. All right, and so this was in a box, and I was cleaning up a corner of my warehouse, which is wrong, a storage room. And it's like, wait, this is a box. So I sent it to myself. So I bought this from someone, and I sent them a label, and they sent a couple bottles over to me, and it's just like, oh, that's interesting. And I don't remember this at all because I never unpackaged the box. I never opened the box up and took this out until just weeks ago. Now, I did not buy it in 2012. I bought it, and I've been in this apartment now that I live in for 5 years. So it was probably 2019. It might have been in the old place as well that I bought it before we moved. And so I just said, put it on the moving truck, and then I'll open up when I get there. And things just kind of grew on top of it. Who knows? But that's my little story here. So we have this nice little, I'm going to call it a collar. We have the real box here, all right? So it is non-chilled filtered. It is 48%, which is fairly cool for Auchentoshan. Now, pulling this out is always a little bit of a task here, to be honest. I'm so happy that I'm just going to do it one more time, basically, and that's it. So what we have here is we have the box, and around the box we have foam, and around the foam we have the bottle here. A standard Auchentoshan box here. Bottle. All right, so that's that. On the nice little, I'm going to call it collar here. So they say we always triple distill. Taste is everything. That is why we always triple distill our whiskey at Auchentoshan. That's true. This collects the highest concentration of new make spirit in Scotland. Not sure if that's still true today. And it gives Auchentoshan its unmistakably light, fruity flavor. That could still be true. Today, we are the only distillery in Scotland to triple distill every drop we create. That was back in 2012. It might still be true today. So Auchentoshan tradition, an Auchentoshan tradition that goes back to 1823. All right, so now the interesting thing is here. Solera. We select exceptional wood and triple distill every drop of single malt Scotch whiskey we create. Solera takes our approach a little further. Solera was matured in a selection of fine oak casks, refill bourbon casks, okay? Probably even hogsheads. But finish in, I love this word, legendary, back in 2012, that was a real word, Pedro Ximenez casks from Spain. These are famed for the mouthfeel and body they give to single malt Scotch whiskey. The result is a whiskey more complex than we could ever achieve from maturing in just one cask. Non-chilled filtered, then bottled at high strength. 48% is high strength. All right. Solera brims with complex flavors exactly as tradition intended. All right, so a lot of marketing blah blah there. All right, so as I said, I paid $139 for this. I did a bottle share, $139. It's gone. On the back of the bottle, it says a very interesting 2 words: mit Zucker Couleur. Underneath that the symbols, you can see it in a couple different languages here. This is artificial coloring at its finest. All right, so if you're using Pedro Ximenez casks, Why do you need to have the artificial coloring involved in there? I don't know that. I'm going to compare it to something I used to drink. I used to really enjoy and love when I first started my whiskey journey about 10 years ago. Auchentoshan Triple Wood. It's changed a lot since then. All right, and so this is also Mitsuka Color. Almost, this has a little darker, but still, it's amazing what they can do here with that. They put this in traditional oak casks, then they put it in Oloroso casks, and then the third triple wood, they put it in Pedro Ximenez. If you don't know what Pedro Ximenez is, sherry is basically from Palomino grapes, a white wine that is produced in Spain, put into oak. You can have flor, which is a yeast layer on top of the fino, for example, and it prevents it from oxidizing. It keeps it nice and bright and fruity and nice. You can have something else called an oloroso, where from the very beginning they just pour brandy in there. Brandy is nothing else rather than just wine that has been distilled. And that brandy kills off the yeast, the entire fermentation process. So you keep as much of the sweetness of that wine at the beginning, and you just leave it set in the wood. It absorbs a little bit of that tannin from the wood and oxidizes further and turns into that brown goodness that we know. Now, Pedro Ximenez is made from a different grape. It's called a Pedro Ximenez grape. It has a little bit larger area than the typical and exclusive sherry area where it could be made. And the grapes actually are allowed to shrivel on the stalks. And so they turn in raisins, and those almost raisins is what they use to make the wine with. So it's much, much sweeter. And sometimes it can be as thick as motor oil. I don't know if you've actually had like a old Pedro Ximenez and you pour it maybe on ice cream. Germans love to do that. It's just like, it's the viscosity of maple syrup. It's fantastic. All right, so I have not talked about one thing I still want to talk about, and that is the word Solera. What is Solera? And that's very interesting that the English Wikipedia page is totally different in the explanation of the German. All right. Solera is a process for aging liquids such as wine, beer, and vinegar and brandy by fractional blending. We don't have the word fractional blending in English, sorry, in German. So what does fractional blending means? In such a way that the finished product is a mixture of ages with the average age gradually increasing as the process continues over many years. So what happens is basically you have maybe 3 or 4 casks on top of each other or virtually on top of each other. At the very, very bottom, you take out a third, and the layer above, you take out a third, put it in the lower layer. In the middle layer, you put there, and the top layer, you take that third, put it in there, and at the very, very top, you pour a new make. And that goes down. If you do that once a year, you're more or less guaranteed that the product down at the bottom is at least 4 years of age. And if you do it every 2 years, you're guaranteed that the bottom product is 8 years old. Now, there's older product in there. That's Solera. And so, did Auchentoshan use Solera in their process? No. Have other whiskey makers done that? Yes. We have Solera, for example, with Glenfiddich 15. They actually do that system of fractional blending, which is kind of cool. But no, they just stole the name. All right. So, let's nose these. Let's review these. Question of the day, what is your favorite Auchentoshan? I know people out there are going to go, especially the connoisseurs, the geeks, the nerds, are like, nothing. I had from SMWS, the Scotch Malt Whiskey Society, an Auchentoshan once. It was heavenly. It was divine. It was great. Loved it. I have not had very many independently bottled Auchentoshans. Suntory Global Spirits basically today do the same thing with Auchentoshan as I do with their Bowmore. They castrate it. Take it down to 40% often. Well, this is 43, this is 48, I know. Chill filter it. It's chill filtered. This is not. They put artificial coloring E150A in there until it turns black like this. And it's just like, okay, wow. If you've had the original cast strength version of Auchentoshan, it can be so good. And the same thing with Bowmore. It can be so great. And then you have the stuff that's on the supermarket shelves and you go, well. But After me complaining, I must admit they're doing something right, at least according to their sales figures. The Malt Whiskey Yearbook 2024 says in the year 2000, they basically were selling 300,000 bottles per year. 13 years later, 2013, they hit 1 million bottles per year. And in 2021, just 8 years later, they hit 2 million bottles a year. So in 21 years, they basically have seven times increased the bottles they sell. They're doing something right, even if it's not what we geeks and nerds and connoisseurs want. But these are supermarket whiskeys. These are things that are in bars. These are things that introductory whiskey drinkers enjoy and then often move on to something else. And I'm so thankful for Auchentoshan. Even me at the beginning, I liked Auchentoshan Triple Wood. That was for me the treat. That and Balvenie Double Wood and Glendronach 12. Those were three things, all sherried. Wow, those are good. And today, the only one I still like, and I know people don't all like it, but I do, Glendronach 12 I still like. Beware, beware, there's a new bottle design. The prices have gone up 50% over here in Germany for the 12, the 15, the 18, and I think the 21 has been discontinued at the moment. It's just crazy what Brown-Forman's doing with the Glendronach. All right, good. I'm sorry. Color darker, the Solera, than the Triple Wood. Let's nose them. I get a very nice sherry Pedro Ximenez moment. I've had other more raisiny Pedro Ximenez. I do get a tiny little bit of burnt caramel. Is that the artificial coloring? Leather, tobacco. It's good. On the nose, that's a B-. Over here, weaker, less prominent, a little bit of a caramel popcorn. Yes, like Cracker Jacks. That's what I'm getting here a little bit. Okay, my first association. 48%, 43%, non-chilled filtered, chill filtered, color added, 40 euros, 140 euros. Well, if you go to Whiskybase, the number I just read before, number 31069, the cheapest you can get it is 187 euros, and the average price is 200 plus euros for this bottle. It's a collector's item. They're not made anymore. It was a limited edition. It was travel retail back in 2012. So if you have one of these in your basement, you want to get rid of it, go to a whiskey auction site. I was at the whiskey auction site in Germany, whiskyauction.com. They went from anywhere from 129 to 211. So it depends on who and when and so on. But there was okay, interesting. The only thing is the recommended retail price was 139 back then. All right, cheers. Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm. Great mouthfeel. Non-chilled filtered, yes. Thickness. Great sherry moment. Dark, rich plums and cherries. Cherries with CH, not SH. Leather, tobacco, caramel, butterscotch, orange peel. That is actually very, very good. 209 people rated this on Whiskybase, giving it an average of 88.3%. Some people said here raisins, dried fruit, chocolates, caramel, leather, quite sweet and spicy. So here it was chocolatey and spicy, quite typical PX, quite nice. So, what was it here? Fine, sweet sherry aromas, not clogged, pleasantly spicy oak with subtle woody notes, still the tart, fresh citrus and grapefruit notes of the Auchentoshan. Everything here fits together very harmoniously, and coordinated. Nothing is excessive, but also balanced at a high level with few surprises. Doesn't distract from the enjoyment. Very good malt. I like it very much. Yeah, no age statement. Is it 3 years old? Is it 30 years old or 13 years old? It doesn't feel to be an old whiskey. All right, 12, 14 years of age probably, but not 18, 20. I'm going to give this a C. I'm sorry, B, a B. Sorry, a B. Value for money, 139 euros back then. D. Even today now, 2024, 12 years later, putting down 139 euros for a bottle of Auchentoshan, no age statement, that's still not a bargain. And 12 years ago, this definitely was not a bargain. This would be like, with my feel for inflation at the moment, this would be like a 300 euro bottle, which shows because it's 250 on Whiskybase here. So I'm going to keep my D for value for money. I just wouldn't pay that. But the flavor, solid B. Nice, good, very, very thick, viscous. Great. I'm going to go to 3-wood real quick. Go back then to Solera because I do not enjoy the 3-wood as much as I used to. I get a lot of syrup sherry. What do I mean by that? Seasoned casks, a little bit of an artificial plastic type of moment going on in there. Not something where I go, wow, but rather something where I go, well, okay. This is a C, on a bad day, a C minus. 40 euros, C minus. There are other things that are better out there that I would buy instead. Like, for example, still Glendronach 12. I like it very, very much. Even the edge of the door scene that you can almost see in the background there is better in my opinion. All right, going back to Solera. I'm happy I found the bottle. A guy actually said, Jason, I want the rest of the bottle. I don't care how much is in there. He said, I used to have that bottle. It's all gone. I really want it. Your price is great. Take it. It's like, okay, I did the bottle share and so on. There was like 15 CL instead of 10 CL left. He gets the bottle. He's so happy about that. And I'm happy to get rid of this monster packaging here as well. And what's I like, and that's what mentioned here, is the citrus grapefruit notes of Auchentoshan. You still get a little high pitch in there. There's a lot of bass going on in there. That sherry, Pedro Ximenez. But there's also some high notes in there, which is the distillate, the new make, the Auchentoshan moment. I can't sing. And they harmonize very, very well. Well done, Auchentoshan with Solera. So you can do good whiskey. Now, just please one day give us non-chilled filtered and natural color. I know it's going to kill you to do that. I have not visited the Auchentoshan distillery. It's what, about an hour outside of Glasgow? I'll have to do that next time I have time and I'm in Scotland. That is someplace I want to go. I want to go to Glenkinchie. And there are 20 new lowland distilleries. After Rosebank closed, there were just 2. There was Glenkinchie and there was Auchentoshan. They held up the flag for a lowland whiskey. Now there's 22. Crazy, isn't it? All right, WhiskyJason, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American over here in Germany, talking about rare and exotic whiskeys. Thank you very much for watching, liking, subscribing, and telling others. See you real soon. Bye-bye.